Alrighty then, welcome in. We're going to go through some example problems here for congruent triangles. I'm going to try to deconstruct some of this stuff. And so make sure you've got a writing utensil and you're trying to copy this down, or maybe you've got it already in your notes. All right, so we're just going to dive on in. Number one, given the triangle congruent statement, mark each pair of triangles with the correct congruence symbols, okay? So we're giving you some information about the two triangles, and that is we have a congruence statement. We're making a statement, and what that statement tells us is all of the corresponding matching parts of each triangle are the exact same measure. The side lengths are all of the same length, and the angles are all the same measure, right? So we're going to use that statement to mark that up on the triangle using congruent symbols, all right? So I'm going to start off just doing the angles piece, and I'm looking at the congruent statement, and I'm going to mark angle G with this little arc right there. And I'm marking angle G, and then I know since G came first in the statement, GEF, I need to mark angle J, because J is also the first letter in that congruent statement for the one on the right. And then I'm going to go over to angle E, and I'm going to use a double arc because I've already used a single arc. And E matches with, well, it's the second letter, so I would have to have a double arc, double rainbow. And that's indicating that those angles, they don't just match up, they're the exact same measure. So if one was 70 degrees, the other one is 70 degrees. It means that the congruent triangles have congruent parts, okay? Each part is congruent to the other one. Last but not least, we're going to use a triple arc, triple rainbow for H and F. And again, I'm looking at the congruent statement there in order to match those up. So I've taken care of the angles. I'm going to take care of the sides next. And that's going to be something you've seen before, where I'm just going to use a single dash and a double dash and a triple dash for each different side length. So there's 3 different side lengths for the triangle on the left, and those match and are congruent accordingly over on the other triangle. So what matches with GE? Well, that was the first 2 letters. So J and I would have to have also a single dash there. G and F had a double dash there, GF did. So that means since G and F are the first and last letter, J and H are going to also have that double dash. And then the 3 dashes there on the H and I part. And again, those match up with E and F. So that's indicating that whatever the length of EF is, right? Whatever this length is going to be the same length over here. And that's why I put those 3 matching, they're little tally marks, okay? All right, so moving on, we're going to use that information as we carry over into number 2. If you ever need to pause the video or slow it down or speed it up, please do so. We're going to use the clues in this triangle to determine if the triangles are congruent, okay? So it says determine if the 2 triangles are congruent. If yes, write the congruent statement and the conjecture, okay? So I've got some pieces of information there. You might notice that all the angles aren't marked. There's not a symbol there. There's not a congruence mark on angle A. There's not a congruence mark on angle C. There's not a congruence mark on angle Q or on angle R. And that side length, AC, there's no mark on it. There's no label of how long it is. There's no tally marks. So we're just looking for the clues and where they exist. So let's see, if we were to look at AB, that side length here, AB, has 1 tally mark there. And on the other triangle, QS also has 1 tally mark. And the tally mark is what you're looking for, okay? So those are matching up sides. So we've got a side there, and I'll write that in green. We've got a side here and a side here. And then let's see, let's go back to red. And we've also got another side, BC, and another side, SR. And they both have double tally marks. So we know those match up and are congruent. And those are also sides. So we're going to we've got 2 sides right now. And this is really important. The next piece of information that we have is this angle B and this angle S. And that angle is between those two sides. It's between those two sides. So it's side, angle, side. All right. And that actually is one of our conjectures for congruence. The criteria for two triangles to be congruent. There's 4 of them, and it should be in your toolkit. One of them is side, angle, side. So this is yes. These are congruent triangles. And I'm going to list out all 4 in a second, but the conjecture is side, angle, side congruence. Okay, that's the conjecture. And it's asking me to write a statement, so I do need to match up those letters. I'll write that out. Next, so we're going to have triangle ABC is congruent to triangle. So let's see, A matches with, let's see, that would be Q. What matches with B? Well, certainly S, because those angles were the same. And then C matches with R. Now, once we know those two triangles are congruent, we actually end up knowing that all the sides and angles are actually the exact same. We were only given side, angle, side, so you don't have to have all of the information about everything in the triangle. You only need certain information. And remember, from your toolkit, which you should have, if you don't have a toolkit, it's just a list of information that covers the unit. Remember, there's 4 different congruence conjectures. So there's side, side, side. There is side, angle, side. There is angle, side, angle. And then there is angle, angle, side. Okay? Which basically are the same thing, but there's 4 different ones. So you're working on identifying which one of these 4 is the conjectures. There's 4 of them. Okay? And you want to be able to really be good at identifying, well, what information's given here? What do I need in order to answer this question? And guess what? They won't all be congruent. Some of them are kind of tricky, so be careful with that. Let's get into our last one, and we'll be all done. This is where we're applying some concepts. So on number 3 here, we've got a simple task of solving for x. And looks like I've been given this congruent statement. There's my congruent statement, which really just tells us, again, things match up, right? And I can see x is over there in angle D. And I kind of made this one line up really nicely. Those two really look congruent, and they are congruent. I'm very confident because it has the statement there. So essentially, this angle 50 degrees is going to match this angle here of 3x minus 16. So if I'm trying to solve, I need to know, hey, those two congruent triangles, each part is the same. So angle A is congruent to angle D, right? So I'm gonna write that actually. I'm gonna write angle A, oops, sorry about that. Angle A is congruent to angle D, all right? And I know that from the congruent statement. And what I'm gonna do is then I'm gonna fill in, well, what was the measure of angle A? What was angle A? Angle A was 50 degrees. And angle D was, actually, let me get rid of the degree symbol because we'll need that in a second, is 3x minus 16 degrees. Now, the only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to get rid of the congruence mark because I'm going to be solving this for x. So because I can write angle A is congruent to angle D, I know that 50 is going to equal 3x minus 16. And now all that's left to do is solve for x. So I'm going to draw this line down. This is just a strategy for solving for x. I'm going to try to get x by itself. So I'm going to, let's see, add 16 to both sides, plus 16 to get rid of this minus 16. So I'm plus 16 here, all right? And that's going to give me, what's that? 50 plus 16 is 66 equals 3x, all right? Because remember, these are going to cancel here. And then what do I have to do next? I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. So that's me dividing by 3, right? To get rid of the 3's here, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So that's 1x, which we just write like this. And then we have 66 divided by 3, which is 22. So 22 is x. I've solved for x. I can also check to see if my answer makes sense. 3 times 22 is 66, minus 16 is 50, so I know my answer is correct. And that is all. So you might have some problems where you're solving for a missing piece, and using triangle congruence to figure that out will help. If you need to rewind, or if you think you found a mistake, let me know. And good luck on the rest of your practice. See you later.